Hello, my name is Rick Lewis. I'm with Phenom Hoop Report. On today's Coach's Corner, I have one of the top high school coaches in North Carolina. He's won 4 state championships at 3 different schools, twice at the Burlington School, once at Davidson Day, once at Cannon. You have a career record of 516, 148 losses in 22 years. You've averaged 23 and a half wins per season, and you also won a state championship in Florida at the Benjamin School. And we're talking about Coach Ron Johnson of Davidson Day. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Coach, you had a really good basketball career at Barry University. For a lot of people don't know, Barry University is in Florida. While you were playing, you wore number 12, and you had your number 12 jersey retired. Give us a scouting report on Ron Johnson, the player, back in high school and also in college.
Oh, man. You know what? I kind of fancied myself. I was a point guard, actually. And so I was a little bit taller point guard, but love to pass the ball. And that's kind of what I did in high school. We did a lot of passing. I played for a really good high school coach, and we had a really good program. And, that's what I did in high school. Once I got to college, the guy who coached me in college really wanted me to score more. And so I did a lot of that, did a lot of scoring. And I finished my career as the all-time leading scorer at Barry University. I was all-time leader in steals, and so I like to think I was pretty versatile. I was able to do a lot. Loved defense, and at that time I could jump a little bit during that time, so I had some athleticism. But it was good. It was probably the best thing I did was to go away. I grew up in New Jersey, and played high school basketball there, and as I was telling you earlier, playing on the playground and things like that. And so having the opportunity to go to Barry University in Miami was great for me, not just for basketball, but just for helping me to just learn more about me, being away from family and all that. So it was a great experience for me. I hold the school in really high esteem because they were able to help me develop in a lot of different ways.
Now, after you graduated from Barry University in Florida, you stayed in Florida. You became a coach at Melbourne Central Catholic for a few years, and then you went from being a coach at the high school level. Then you moved up to be an assistant coach at Binghamton College or University in New York. What was that transition like, Coach?
It was exciting for me. I had been, like you said, my first head coaching job at high school level was at Melbourne Central Catholic, and the school was really not known for its basketball program, but by my second year there, we were able to get to the regional final, which is a step before the Final Four, and we were able to get there, and unfortunately didn't make the Final Four when I was there. But then I got an opportunity to be be an assistant coach at Binghamton University, which was a full-time coaching position where I didn't have to be. I wasn't dean of students. I wasn't an athletic director. It was just kind of coaching, and so I was really excited about doing that. It was great. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, but I really got I really missed what I was doing at the high school level with the kids there and the relationships I was able to build during my first 3 years of coaching with the kids. I was really emotional when I left, and I told the kids I was leaving to go to Binghamton, and that always kind of stuck with me about how attached you get with the kids. And so I really only stayed a year at Binghamton and wound up leaving after a year.
Now, after you left there, you went back to Florida and you returned to the Benjamin School. And in 2001, your basketball coaching career took off. You won the state championship in 2001.
Yeah, we did. It was that was great. For me, it was a really emotional time in 2001 because of kind of how we got there. We had my first year there in the Benjamin School. Folks probably don't know the Benjamin School. Obviously, in this area in North Carolina, they don't know the Benjamin School, but it's a pretty affluent school. And Jack Nicklaus, his kids went there, his grandkids went to school there, and Greg Norman's kids. So a big golfing school, as you can tell. And in my first year, we really elevated the program and got to a regional semifinal. And then the second year, we got to the regional final. And then this third year, with these kids who were sophomores when I got there, they're in their senior year now, and we got to the Final Four. And this was just a group of kids who just played hard. Really good families. They came from great families. Really I'm going to say some wealthy families. And the thing about Florida too is that Florida, the public and private all play together. So it's not separate organizations. It's just one organization. So you're battling a lot more schools to even get to the Final Four. And for us to get to the Final Four, we won the semifinal game. Then we get to the final, and we're playing Arlington Country Day School from Jacksonville, Florida, who was nationally ranked. And by the time I think all the kids that graduated, probably 7 of those kids that went on to play Division I. And here we are with one Division II player, a kid who went to play baseball at the University of Miami, and a Division III player. But just a great group of kids who played really well together, and we were able to win. We won. We won a state championship over a really dominant team. It was almost kind of like a Hoosiers type story. So, really exciting.
Now, did you play any golf while you was in Florida?
No, I never picked up the game. I got invited to do it often. I just never got a chance to do it, and I should have.
Too busy coaching. Now, in 2004, you became the head coach at Cannon in Concord. What was the allure of coming to North Carolina?
You know what? It was. I saw it as an opportunity, a great opportunity to go to a place that at the time the basketball program wasn't very strong. And I also saw it as an opportunity to impact the entire athletics program. I went there as the athletic director. I actually went there as the athletic director, the dean of students, and the varsity boys basketball coach my first year there. And we believed the program, and they were about maybe 5-19 or so the year before I got there. And then we finished 15-12 my first year. And then by my second year, we were in a state championship game. And we wound up, winning the state championship game. We had some great guys. We had a young man by the name of Jarrell Eddy, who
I remember that team.
Yeah, well, Jarrell was in 8th grade then. I don't know if people knew that or not. He was in 8th grade, but we had 2 really great guards. A kid named R.J. Dixon, who was a really good player. R.J.'s an attorney now in Charlotte, and we had a kid named Dominic Reed, who was a really phenomenal player. And I always say still that Dominic was probably Dominic right now is an assistant coach at Cannon, and I always say he may have been probably the best player I've ever had in terms of like coming to practice every day with the intensity. And he was tough, could score, could defend, but he was 5'10", 5'11". If he was 6'3", 6'4", to play in the ACC, and who knows, maybe beyond that.
So here we have it, a young coach in 2001 at the Benjamin School. You won a state championship. You moved to North Carolina. You're at Cannon, who has no history of having a basketball program. In 2006, you win another state championship. So you're doing pretty well early on. And then in 2008, you had that itch again. You took a job at the University of Georgia to become an assistant coach.
Yeah, I did. And, I had thought at the time that I probably would not, take another college job. Things were going really well at Cannon. We had, I was there for 4 years. I think we were in the Final Four maybe 3 times. And like you said, we won a state championship. So we had a good program, and we're doing some good things, athletic department wide, not just basketball. But I got to know the staff at the University of Georgia, and the head coach there, Dennis Felton, offered me a position on staff, and went there, and I enjoyed it. There was so much to like about being at the University of Georgia, and just the town of Athens, and just a great opportunity here in the SEC. And so that's why I took the job. I really thought it was a really good opportunity for me, and a chance to do some things at a little bit different level than what I was doing before.
And then after the time you spent at Georgia, so you went from being a head coach at the high school level, winning state championships, you went to college, and you're an assistant coach, and then it hit you again. You enjoy high school coaching. You returned back to North Carolina, and this was your first stint at Davidson Day.
Yeah, well, this was some of it was, yes, I definitely missed high school coaching, but then also the staff at Georgia got let go. So some of it was not me saying, I just want to go back to high school. It was, staff got let go. And so I did come back to North Carolina, and I knew the head of school at Davidson Day School, and she called me. She knew I was back in town, and she wanted me to be part of this kind of young school that was coming up. and a young athletics program. And but I was not the athletic director. I was the dean of students and also the varsity coach. We were, we established a good program pretty early on. By my third year, we were in the state championship game. Unfortunately, we lost, but we got to the state championship game, and then had some other opportunities come up after that.
In 2013, you had the opportunity to go to the Burlington School, which, again, it was a private school that didn't have much of a reputation as far as basketball is concerned. And then in 2015 and 2017, you win 2 state championships. But the 2017 was really, really special. You went 31-0, went undefeated. What were the deciding factors there as far as how difficult it was to go undefeated that course of the year in 2017?
Yeah, and I think when you look back at it, obviously when the season was over, you go, "Wow, I can't believe we just went." We won 31 games, all 31 of our games. But I think as you're doing it, it's not something that you think about. I know as a coach, I've never got into the year saying I want to go undefeated. Obviously, you prepare for every game and get your guys prepared as much as you can for every game. But I think the reality of it kind of hits you probably that last game that you're going into. You're in the state championship game, and you kind of think a little bit, man, you want to win the state championship, and then it's like, oh, you know what, we'd be undefeated also if we won. But I know a lot of people don't remember that the year before that, okay, we were 34-0 in going into the state semifinal game, and we lost in the state semifinal. And I think what really fueled those guys was kind of that loss, because all those guys came back for their senior year, and that was a 31-0 team.
So now we're looking at a state championship at the Benjamin School. You have one at Cannon. Now you're at Burlington School. You have 2 in your belt. And then in 2018, you decided, you know what, I'm going back to Davidson Day, which is basically where you started in North Carolina. Since 2018, you've had a tremendous team at Davidson Day in a great program. But this past year, you just won the 2020 state championship at Davidson Day.
Yeah. It was a tremendous group of guys. The kids were really really coachable, hard-working kids, and I think they were really hungry for some success. When I left Davidson Day the first time, I think they had a couple of years of success. A guy who was my assistant coach, Jeff Coble, had coached the team previously before I returned, and Jeff, I think, did a great job coaching them. They just couldn't really get over kind of the hump. And I came back to Davidson Day really because we love the area. My wife and I really love this area. And if you haven't kind of noticed it, I know you kind of looked at my some of my resume, that I've tried to go to places where I feel like that I can make an impact. I try to kind of go to places where I feel like I can help. And I think the theme of it has been that there's not been a lot of success, and then I go and I really try to infuse some of that into the school and into the program, particularly the basketball program. And it's the same deal with coming back to Davidson Day. It was the program had really been kind of down, the athletics program and the basketball program, and having the opportunity to maybe do something special and create something special. And this year, it all kind of came to a head, and we were able to get over the hump. And it was similar to the story I mentioned about the Burlington School that at Davidson Day the year before my first year back, the 2018-19 team that lost in the I think it was a regional semi, or the regional semi, the state quarterfinals or regional finals or something, semifinals. And the guys were really obviously hurt by that, and it really fueled them to have a great summer last summer and a great fall, and came into the year really focused and just a really good group of guys and great year.
Coach, how were you able to turn a program around so quickly, and what do you attribute the success to?
I think any place I've got into, I've tried to be really direct with the guys about what they want I asked them questions about things they want. Of course, they all want to win a state championship and that kind of thing. So then I try to lay it out for them as to what's required to do that. And a lot of that really is it's hard work, and it's like really being diligent about the work that you're putting in the extra time, and working on the right things. And so I think the thing that's helped us to make an impact early on is that we've really done that. We haven't just talked about it. We've really done that. We've held kids accountable to, here's kind of what you said you wanted to do. Here's what you said that you wanted to be. And fortunately, I've had some success in the past. The kids kind of buy in quickly because they understand that, since I've kind of done this before. So I think that helps for kids to buy in.
Well, that was my next question. Your teams are always very unselfish, and they play as a team, and they always buy into the team first approach. And that's especially noticeable in today's Me Too mentality and me first. How are you able to get the guys to buy into the team concept so easily?
I try to be pretty direct, like I said, with kids and their parents when they come in and talk to me, that this is really about, and I may be kind of old school with this, but I really think it's basketball is a team game, and obviously everybody's got responsibilities on the court, but the rules are the same for everybody. The expectations are the same for everybody in terms of things that go on in practice, and practice starts at 3 o'clock. Guys aren't walking in there at 3. Everybody, you get there early, and we're separated. Everybody all accountable to the same standard. And I think all of our guys would say, and that we've been able to build that kind of culture any place I've been. And I always say too that my guys at Davidson Day are connected to my guys that I coached at the Burlington School. In fact, some of those guys come down some and play. They played with us last year. So some of the guys know each other. But even if I go further back, like the guys who are at Davidson Day now are connected to the guys who are at the Benjamin School in Florida, because it's really the same thing. We've been able to create a culture of kind of how we do things, and you really kind of help kids get into the kind of why you do these things. And so yeah, it's been. I would say really it's just been about getting kids to understand that there's a path to trying to be successful, and fortunately the kids who have bought into it have been able to experience some of that success.
Coach, the one thing I've been impressed with you is your sideline demeanor. You always seem so calm, cool, and collect. And as Stuart Scott would say, you're cooler than the other side of the pillow. But I've always noticed you're always very calm, you're poised, you're professional. And I just have to ask you, have you ever had a game where you just lost it?
Yeah, I think what you're seeing some years of kind of learning the hard way, I think. I think early on in my career when I was at Melbourne Central Catholic, I probably had a few technicals. I probably spent a lot of time chasing after officials and yelling and screaming and doing that kind of thing. And I just realized that really took away from what I should be concentrating on with the kids. I think it was distracting to the kids also. Plus, honestly, I really feel like this way. And I remember, I go to a ton of coaching clinics. I can't remember who kind of said it some years ago. But really, like your work is really done at practice. I always feel like that. So our practices are pretty intense, and I probably get pretty, you may not recognize me at practice in terms of, the intensity level at practice, but I feel like the work's done at practice. And at games, the kids if we've prepared them the right way, they kind of know what to do. You're reminding them of things they should be doing, okay? But it's not like there's anything new that we're doing in the game that we haven't really practiced and we haven't worked on so much. So it's just kind of reminding them in the game. So for me, it's not that the officials don't bother me a little bit from time to time, but I think I really try to focus on what our team's doing or not doing and try to make those corrections, and not to spend a lot of time kind of yelling and screaming.
Well, when I watch your teams play, I always look at your team and they're an extension of your personality. When I watch your teams play, they're always very poised and mature on the court. They don't seem to get rattled too much. And I think that's an extension of you as far as what you provide on the sideline.
Well, yeah, no, I hope so. I hope so. I'd like to feel like guys come into it with a greater sense of confidence because of the way that we work at practice. And we always talk about how preparation breeds confidence. And so my hope is that that's part of it too. Is that we're pretty detailed with what we do at practice, and even in our off-season stuff, our workouts and things are done at a really high intensity level, and we try to do things to perfection in. During our workouts and our training. And I think guys go into the game feeling a little more confident because they know they've done this before. And, they've been challenged a lot through workouts and practice that they come into games a little more confident.
Well, we just finished watching The Last Dance, and, a lot of times people would have criticized Dean Smith was the only person to hold Michael Jordan under 20 points. And, they always said he had that system. I hear a lot of people go, you know what, when you watch Ron Johnson's team, he has a system. How would you describe a Ron Johnson coach team?
Man, I would, and I would think I would bet that a lot of coaches have kind of things that they're kind of passionate about, that they really embrace and say, here's kind of what I like to do with my team. And I'm the same way. I got things that I like to do with my team, things that I think are really important, when we play. But I would say that I would hope that folks would say that our guys play hard, that they really compete. I would also say that our teams are really, I think they're organized. I think our teams are organized and they're prepared. And those are things I just mentioned are not necessarily things that have to do with athletic talent. But if I add kind of athletic talent maybe to those things, being prepared, working hard and being organized, I can add that talent to those things, and I think you've got something pretty special if you can do that.
Well, Coach, it seems like no matter where you've gone, you were coaching in Florida at the Benjamin School, you won a state championship. You came to Cannon, you won a state. You went to Burlington School, you won 2. You won 1 at the Davidson Day School. Success seems to follow you. And I think it's pretty easy to see from my viewpoint, watching and observing the execution, how well your teams execute on both ends of the court, both offensively and defensively. But more importantly, is just how well they buy into the team concept. And, it's really, if you're a basketball purist, they're going to enjoy watching a Ron Johnson team because they do things the right way.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks, Rick. And we try to. And I think it's I don't know. To me, it's more just basketball has evolved some, but I think to the core of it, it really is about kind of dribbling, and then defensively doing things that make it hard for the other team to do those things: pass, shoot, and dribble. And so we really try to break it down to that and not try to complicate it a whole lot. But the guys today, really talented players that you find out there. Kids really spend a lot of time working on their game. I think we had really talented players when I was coming up, but now because kids really specialize in kind of playing year round and really training and developing some really good players, and it makes it challenging as a coach to really try to defend some of those players. And as a coach offensively, okay, it's really nice to have some of those guys that can do certain things on the floor. So I think the players are really good, but at the same time, I think our players still need to be coached. And there's some really good coaches out there, and I appreciate them. And I just try to do my part as well.
Well, you look around and you see some of the teams that win state championships, and you go back and look at the roster and you go, wow, they had 2 or 3 high major kids, or they had a collection of all Division I kids. The one thing that you've done over the years is you've been able to blend in some kids that are Division I, maybe D2, D3, and you have kids that won't play basketball after their high school experience, but you blend them in to play as one unit.
Yeah, we have, and I'm honestly, I'm really proud of being able to do that, because I think that basketball is, like I said, a team game, and if you can get kids to do those things I said earlier, if they're prepared and really come ready to learn about how we're going to execute that, if they can really be organized with how we do it, then I think in basketball, I think sometimes you can beat some teams who might physically have more talent than you do. But if your kids are organized, prepared, and they're willing to work really hard, they're not afraid to do that, then I think you have an opportunity to have some success. And so, yeah, I've been really proud to I've had kids who have gone on to be doctors and lawyers and then I've had kids who've gone to play at really high levels in college, and then a couple of kids who are playing professionally overseas and those things. So that's great too. But then to have kids who have been able to do a number of things that didn't involve basketball, and then you hear from them that their experience with you as a coach kind of helped to give them the confidence, help them to understand about hard work, and if I can put in hard work here in basketball and have success, and I can do the same thing with. I have a young man who I coached at the Benjamin School who went on to become an actor. He's an actor in New York City now, and he told me, that coach, he said, everything that we did in terms of basketball, or I just applied it to my acting career, and that makes you feel good as a coach that you've been able to help kids in that way.
Well, Coach, we want to say thank you for coming on today and sharing your story and your journey as a basketball coach. We just wanted everybody else to know what we already knew at Phenom, that you're one of the best coaches in North Carolina.
Well, I appreciate it, Rick. Thanks for having me on, and look forward to seeing you around once we're able to kind of get out of this state we're in. I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, take care.